glad you brought your chair. I
Oh, I'm sorry. You can sit on that.
got one. Well, I don't think I'm going to be here that long because
It's raining again.
it's supposed to rain at 8 o'clock.
I do have a new topic for tonight, though.
Okay.
So, is there something I can carry for you that doesn't weigh anything?
That's it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So what's your new topic?
The mail.
Yeah, they changed it.
Disappearing mail.
They changed that.
Well, I didn't know they changed the address. The old address is on, the regular address is still on the website. And, I don't keep it in my mind. So when I went to write my son some letters, I pulled up their website and wrote to that address. One of the letters was real time sensitive. We needed it for the lawyer.
Uh-huh.
And I just got it back yesterday. It says not deliverable. Return to sender, unable to forward. That's what it says.
Bluetooth connected.
Testing, 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 testing. Testing. Test.
But if you want to write a letter to any of the administrators, it's still their old address. So they didn't send all their mail to Missouri. It goes to Missouri.
Yeah. Wow.
So I sent him a new letter. It never showed up. So now I've got 2 letters that are just in the wind somewhere.
I don't quite understand that.
And I'm
They
sure
could change that.
that this isn't only me that this has happened to.
All right, this has started, so it's recording.
Oh.
That's all right. No, it's good. I think we're all set.
Oh, this is when I didn't get a chance to mail to you. I was too busy.
That's it.
No, read the whole set.
That's what I read. But
Read the next page.
oh. Hey, Ron.
John, hi baby, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Looks like we might get a little bit of rain
It
here.
rains every Friday, I guess.
I texted Larry and he said he was going to come.
Yeah, good.
Keep in mind, Daniel can't ever miss a messengers, and he can't have flashing lights near him, and he can't.
Right.
I mean, he has supposed to be on a special diet and everything
Right.
because he's disabled. He's even qualified for a dog. So, and they don't do, they feed him the opposite of what he's supposed to have.
Can I have a copy of that letter when you're done?
You can have it. 'Cause
Okay. I can't read it right now because it's too little. Unless you
Yeah.
want me to read it. But
No, you can do what you want. with
okay. All right. I'll put it on my clipboard then. All right. Well, we're live recording, and I guess what we'll do is I'm going to kick things off. There comes Larry, and hopefully we'll get some phone calls. But I'm going to go ahead and do my best to say a little prayer here.
Yes.
All right. All right, here we are, March 31st, 2023 at the Northern Neck Regional Jail, and we're going to start out with our usual invocation. And dear Lord, thank you for this weather. A little beautiful drizzle on us again, but it's warm and it's nice to be here and to be standing in this place in the name of these people that have come through this place and are gone, but also for the ones that remain here, because that is what this whole fight is about. We are here to bring light on the injustice in this facility. So God, thank you for your strength. Please give every single one of these people that are in here the knowledge that with your guidance, they can indeed achieve a better day. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
I'll go with Sherry, I think.
Yeah. So, all right. So thank you for that. And we have a different format going these days because obviously there are no J6ers left inside here to call us, but we're hoping that we get our usual phone calls from a couple of people. And one of the things that I did since last meeting, I went back through all of the information that we've been gathering up over time. I've tried to capture all the individuals that have been in this facility. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those folks, and I think it's important that we remember these individuals and we keep an eye on where they're going and where they are in their journey, because many of these folks have been sentenced. Some of them are still awaiting their trial, but most of them are getting into their sentencing phases, and it's pretty interesting what's happening with them. And we need to keep tracking those guys and see where they are and support them, because again, this is a very trying time. As you know, we talked last time, folks are feeling very distraught and desperate, even to the point of wanting to maybe give up. So we can't let that happen. We've got to support these people. So I'm going to talk about the approximately 42 people that I believe have gone through here. I may have missed one or two. But Adam Jackson, he came here in August of 2022. Albuquerque Head, he was here in December 21. Andrew Quentin Taki, not exactly sure when he came, but he was moved out in December of 22. Barry Ramey, of course, he's a frequent caller. He was here in August of 22. Brandon Fellows, November 22. Brian Jackson, August of 22. Chris Quaglin, December of 21. He was one of the first of the seven, the initial seven. Daniel Rodriguez, April of 22. Daryl Neely, December of 22. Ethan Nordine, November. I'm sorry, April 22. He was moved out in November. Jeffrey Sills, December of 21. Howard Adams, January of 23. Howard Richardson, April of 22. Israel Easterday, January of 23. James Grant, April of 22. Jeffrey Brown, December of 22. Jeffrey Brown, by the way, was the last one to come out of here just this month. So thank goodness for him, and that he doesn't have to remain. Jonathan Manafo, not quite sure, but I know he was arrested in January of 2021 and left here in February. Josiah Kenyon, April of 22. Justin Jersey, June of 22. Cash Kelly, November 22 for a day or two. He was just too nice. He went up and hugged and thanked everybody, talked to everybody. Kyle Young, December of 21. Lucas Denny, April of 22. Mahyla Pryor, the only female on our list through the Northern Neck Jail. She was here just for a little bit of time in December of 22. Mark Mazza, April of 22. Marcus Malley, I know he left in February, was arrested in June of 21. I don't have his exact date of when he came here, but Mason Corson, April of 22. Mitchell goes by Todd Gardner, August of 22. Nicholas Brockhoff, April of 22. Nicholas Lagerand, December of 21. Patrick McKee, I think he pronounces it, or McCaughey. He left in January of 23, not exactly sure when he arrived. Ricky Wilden, August of 22. Robert Morris, December of 21. Robert was here for a long time. You might recall Robert is the guy that wrote the Code of Conduct for J6ers. Awesome, awesome. Ronald Sandling was arrested in February 21, left here in January of 23. I'm not exactly sure when he arrived. Ronnie Presley arrived here December of 21. Ryan Samsel, of course, was here in late last year when the alleged incidents occurred where he was ended up in the hospital. Samuel Lazar came here in August of 22. Tim Beener, May of 22. Troy Sargent left in February 1st, around then. William Robert Norwood was here in August of 22. And William Rogan Reed, August of 22. And Zachary Alam, April of 22. So if I've missed anyone out there, please reach out and correct, and I'll add them to the list, and I'll try to fill in some more dates. And the next thing I'm trying to do is also to track their trial dates, their sentencing dates, and where they are now. So I've got that pretty well filled out here. A lot of these folks are in Lewisburg. I think there's about 17 or so of them up there at the U.S. Federal Penitentiary in Lewisburg. A lot of them are in Alexandria. Some, of course, are in D.C. And then there are a few that are sprinkled throughout other locations around the country. So that's 42 approximately of the around 150 or so of these individuals that were arrested and charged and jailed. There was over 950 folks that were arrested on January 6th. And they're still got warrants out for another something like 200 or so from that original thing. And they say that they're continuing to try to come after some more folks. So I think it's very important that we keep an eye on these individuals. What I'd like our group to do is, 42 people is not an unmanageable list. I'd like to have a sponsor for every single one of these people, and we would keep an eye on them. Each individual's personal responsibility would be to take that individual and be their sponsor, keep an eye on them, make sure they've got what they need, understand where they're at and where they're going through. So that's one thing we're going to be moving ahead with. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this stuff away for a minute. It is starting to rain a bit, and hopefully we'll get a call in here shortly.
Thank you.
Isn't that nice? The multi too.
I know. I don't know. Pretty for visits.
This is my list. I think it's better. Okay, so when you look at it, if you see somebody on there that's missing, that's but yeah, and what I'm trying to do is get Jeffrey's the only one I have to duck for but get that stuff on here so that we can kind of keep an eye on it. That's the goal.
Okay.
So I want to say thank you to everybody that's out here again on another rainy night. Ever since I've been doing this, it's been raining. If you've noticed
Friday
that.
night, man, it
Yeah,
rains.
every Friday night it rains. So, but anyway, you can't complain. At least it's not 14 degrees like it was the one night that we were here. I just wanted to share something with listeners here tonight that is something I'm going to read at our next Patriot meeting. We have what we call a constitutional minute, and folks can talk, you know, whatever they like to. I try to encourage folks to step up and just read a little bit of something, whether it be from the Constitution itself, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, you know, the you know, any of those sort of historical kind of documents, you know, the letters that were written at the time, all that sort of thing. And this is something that's known as the Leedstown Resolves. Does anyone in our membership out here, we got about half a dozen people, know where Leedstown is?
Oh, yeah.
All right, what county is Leedstown? Westmoreland County, indeed. So Westmoreland County is the adjacent county to Richmond County. Back in the original land grants and so on, this was one larger county that got split up. But so basically, where we're standing would have been part of that same original tract. So this was called the Leedstown Resolves, or the Westmoreland Resolves, and it was a courageous protest against the Stamp Act. It was executed on February 27th, 1766, 10 years prior to the Declaration, all right? Virginia citizens whose names are listed at the end of this document came together and were pushing back against the Stamp Act. So the Stamp Act was basically the British Crown. All right, we got a call coming in here. Let me hold that.
Should be a private call. Please hang up and follow. As a private number. To accept this free call, press 1. Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey Barry, we're standing here in the rain and your timing is perfect. How are you tonight?
Pretty good. How about you guys other than the rain? Everyone's doing okay?
Yeah, it's great.
Doing
It's
well.
70 degrees. We got about a half dozen people here, and that's awesome. And yeah, so glad to hear from you. Tell us some news. What's going on?
Awesome. Well, I'm actually calling to tell you guys some news. Are you live streaming by any chance tonight?
We are indeed.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. All right, so as some of you probably know, a story just broke in the Epic Times this week. A prosecutor admits in a briefing that D.C. police officers undercover acted as provocateurs on January 6th. There's even one photo that leaked out with them walking several steps behind Ashley Babbitt. I'm encouraging everybody that's listening out there tonight, all of you guys out there standing in the rain, to find this article on Epic Times and post it and share it with as many people you can. Whether it's your Truth Social, your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, anything, Telegram, copy this link and share it with as many people as you can. If you have trouble finding it at Epic Times, you can go to Twitter or Truth Social at Osprey_Sensei. We just posted the article and a link to it on Epic Times as Osprey_Sensei. Find this article. This is very big, and it's just barely scratching the surface. A Jan 6er by the name of William Pope has filed for a motion to release his discovery to the public. The prosecution is trying to fight, and they're trying to fight that now because we now know that even Metro DC police officers were undercover, provoking protesters, encouraging people to go in the building, and it goes even deeper than that. We know we have to fight media, social media, all kinds of censorship. So it is up to us to get these news stories out there. This is groundbreaking. So please exercise your First Amendment right before you don't have it anymore, and share this story with everyone you can. So have you guys heard about it yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I looked at it and I saw them, and in fact they were kind of following Ashley up the steps a bit, but it started very early, and there was conversations that were recorded as well of the things they were saying. So yeah, there's more and more of that that's coming out of these folks that were embedded and were instigating things. So I think that's great, Barry.
Absolutely. Yeah, so definitely, guys, share as much as you can. Don't stop. Take to it right now. If you're listening out there, drop what you're doing and share this story. So, other than that, how's it going in Northern Neck?
It's going well. We're still making some progress here, but one of the things that we're doing is we're meeting with their individual board members here. You know, as you know, we put on pretty much of a pressure campaign, you know, to bring to everyone's attention here locally what went on here, some of the worst situations that we talked about, but then to follow up with their individual county boards and now with individual board members. All right, so we're working on that, and I think it's going to be really revealing because there's some folks that are getting behind us. They want to support us. At least they want to have transparency and openness. So that's a very positive step, I think.
Well, good job, guys. Keep fighting that good fight, man. I'm proud of all of you for being out there and doing that. You're going to benefit and impact the lives of many people if that jail continues to operate. At least it will operate on better terms for the people that enter inside of it.
So I have some questions to ask you around that, Barry, because, you know, I've heard these anecdotal things. I've looked back through my notes from the calls, and, you know, there's some things that keep coming up. Obviously, the complaint forms, you know, not being available, and we've heard that various reasons for that, but that's one issue. The black mold is another issue, if you have anything to say about that. And then I also want to ask about the butt chair, so I'll let you have the floor.
Well, the butt chair, I do a pretty good job at walking the line, and I've been fortunate to avoid that. I've heard some stories from inmates that, you know, I can't really confirm because I wasn't a part of it or didn't witness it, but it doesn't seem like it's very fun. Now, as far as the black mold, I can definitely 100% attest to that. They continuously paint over it. It's on the vents in the middle. If you go into what's known as L pod and K pod, they're considered the honor pods, even though I will contest there's not much honor involved in them. There's vents that are in the middle of the dorm, and that means that they're on the second floor ceiling where you can't really access them unless you had a very, very, very tall ladder from the first floor. When you're on the second floor loft, you wouldn't be able to reach them, and they're basically covered black. There was this period in time where the air vents were not working in J pod, which is the general population pod, and they had a couple big fans rotating to circulate air. When the air did come back on, everyone was getting sick. People had serious congestion, serious coughs. I was one of them. You could smell the scent of black mold coming in. The reality of it is that entire duct system needs to be replaced. It's riddled with black mold, and they'll tell you that it's not, but if they get it tested, and it clearly is, and again, they'll send people in there to paint over them. We know the marshals are coming, because when the marshals are coming the day before, they'll get a couple inmates with extension mops and scrubbers to scrub the black mold off the vents and J-pods. So you know the marshals are coming the next day when they start to do that.
Interesting. I remember someone saying that, that during the middle of the summer last year, things were shut down. HVAC system was shut down. That tells me that's a major problem. And of course, when you shut those systems down, and especially if there's moisture in them, that's a ripe opportunity for mold to grow. So I'm really glad you have helped clarify that.
Yes, I've witnessed that firsthand experience. People got really, really sick when they finally came back on. I was one of those people. And again, the medical department is atrocious. The process that it takes to be treated for anything is just almost non-existent at times. And I can actually prove that with paperwork. If anyone's interested, I can have a series of request forms and denials and grievances and show you the step-by-step process that it took just to get ibuprofen. So, you know, it's pretty bad.
So what about the jumping rash, which we understand to actually be MRSA? Have you had any experience or seen anyone having to deal with that condition?
Not me personally, but I did get a chance to witness it go on with Jeffrey Sills. Jeffrey Sills did suffer from it greatly. I was there in K-Pod with him when he was trying to get treatment, and they basically, you know, like everybody else, fill out a request form. Maybe a doctor will see you in a week or two. Usually they won't respond. You have to get multiple request forms to them. In Jeffrey Sills' case, I believe that they never really treated it at all. He suffered pretty bad from it. I did witness it from another inmate that was not a Gen 6er. He had a very bad sore on his back of his arm, and it started to bleed, and finally I got him to realize, dude, this is probably MRSA, staph at the least, and he finally got seen, and it was staph, and they just put him back in the dorm with everybody else, and not sure exactly the remedy that was rendered because I was moved shortly after, but yeah, it does go on there, and it's a pretty gross environment.
Well, and it's also my understanding is that part of that has to do with when you're vitamin deficient and so on, and getting the minimum nutrition. That sets your body up for those kinds of infections as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. You don't get a sufficient amount at the time. I mean, 2 months went by before I saw the sun. So they don't take you outside once a week if you're lucky, but usually a weeks will pass before you're able to go outside. It's usually early in the morning. And I will say one thing that they do try to do is if you ask for vitamin D, they will give it to you. And sometimes, once or twice, they came around every dorm and handed out 30-day supplies of vitamin D. I will give them credit for that, but as far as the rest of the nutrients, vitamin D is a very good nutrient. There's a lot of groundbreaking studies that prove that recently within the last 5 years. However, the nutrition there is completely terrible. And I heard you guys actually got a show from them where they try to show you that the food was okay. And I guarantee you, not being there, I can guarantee that they lied and put on a Hollywood performance of what it's like. But the food there is absolutely terrible. And you don't get fruit. You don't even get vegetables every day. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, we've been tracking that pretty closely, and we did get to see that. And to use the superintendent's words, it was a dog and pony show. There were hot dogs. I don't know where the pony comes in, but certainly it was not that fantastic a looking meal. And I don't think that was actually even what got served that night once we asked around a little bit. Of course,
probably not. If it came with a bun, they're lying to you already because the hot dogs they give might have a piece of bread if you're lucky.
There was white bread. There was white bread, so that was realistic.
Okay. All right, good. But yeah, you get probably hot dogs twice a week, twice a month. Literally twice a month. They have a schedule, and most inmates have a copy of the schedule, and so that was probably one of the better trays. 2 hot dogs. Sometimes, I hate to be graphic, but we would compare them to Freddy Krueger's you-know-what area, because that's what it looks like.
Well, yeah, it didn't look all that appealing. Nobody tasted it, but we did get to see it.
And that was one of the better trays. So
now I will say one of our individuals out here came in one day because he told them, I want to come and sit down and eat. And he did. And he said that overall it wasn't too bad, but the baked potato wasn't all that great. And when we started asking that question, everybody said, they don't serve baked potatoes to the inmates here.
Well, I was there for 6 months. I never saw a baked potato, so that's pretty funny.
So he was a lucky one to get a baked potato for sure.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That was the CO's dinner. That was CO's lunch.
Yeah, that was the CO's lunch.
Oh yeah,
It is
definitely.
different. They have 2 different meals.
So,
One for
tell you
that,
what,
one for employees.
there's a lot of happening here, obviously with the Trump situation. But I tell you what, of course, the folks that the congressional contingent that went and visited the D.C. jail a week or so ago, and so I think they're starting to turn up the pressure there a bit more. And I believe that they are folks that want to come out here and look at this facility too.
Well, I can promise you it's going to happen. I just had a very nice phone call. I'll just give her first name. Her first name is Joanna. She's a very well-connected individual. She's a personal associate with a certain orange man from New York that nobody really likes, and except for us, we love him. And she is partnered with him, and I linked her and John Haynes up. So her and John Haynes has had a really good conversation, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, and she is on the case, and she is going to be looking into Northern Neck and getting some things to come out. So.
Awesome. Thanks for that connection, Barry. John told me about it, and I've yet to speak to her, but that's great news because that's some power here. I think that that's needed for sure. Continue to privacy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's a very well-connected person. She's very smart, intelligent. She cares, yes. So I have a lot of hope that she's going to bring some light into that situation at Northern Neck.
Awesome. Yeah. So one of the things we're doing here, and I talked about it earlier, I've got a list put together from what my records I can tell are all the individuals that have come through here, the J6ers that have come through. I come up with around 42 names. I'm going to share that with your fiance, and maybe she can read the list to you one time when you're talking and see if we've missed anyone, or if you can add any color around that. That would be great. Because
Absolutely.
What we want to do is I'd like to get sponsors for every single individual that came through here, just an individual to track them and make sure they have what they need, communicate with them, whatever the case may be. Because you guys are still, on a journey here until you see that light of day, and hopefully that will be soon. But I think that if we can help to support you, even though you're not here, that's my thinking. What are your thoughts around that?
It's an awesome idea. I mean, a lot of us can't afford really good legal representation. We're forced to go with public defenders. Even myself, who was lucky enough to get a paid attorney, that came at the cost of my fiance, my mother, and a lot of good charitable people that have donated to my legal fund. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And a lot of us are in that situation. So when it comes to commissary and stuff like that, these places, if you don't have commissary, you don't have anything. And it is taking, our families, all of us, are taking a serious financial hit. And a lot of guys that go on that don't have anything. And fortunately, I'm lucky enough to have some support. But it's getting seriously expensive. I've only been in Alexandria for probably a month and a half going on, and I've spent well over $1,000 on the phone, the tablet, and commissary. And, we're not made of money, and a lot of guys are even far off worse than I am, so it would be a big help to a lot of us.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that expensive for those things. So, but the basics, I guess outside of Northern Neck, the basic necessities are provided, correct? So this is just for your ability to stay in contact with your family and et cetera, right?
Exactly, yeah. Northern Neck was a special case. That was terrible. Here in Alexandria, they do supply with socks, boxers. They actually gave me thermals. So, I mean, I didn't have the basic necessities, and the food isn't as bad as Northern Neck all the time. So it is still pretty bad here, but not as bad as there. And so that's basically it. It's luxuries basically as far as prison and jail are concerned to be able to have soups and different items off the commissary, but without it, then you're stuck with 3 small meals a day, and that's what you get.
Right, absolutely. All right, well, cool. We'll try to kick that off, and I'll communicate with your fiance on that as we get that going. And pass the word around too. I know you're in segregated isolation there, but hopefully you get a chance to talk to other folks there. Do you or not?
I talked to a couple people through a channel, mainly just John Monifo, who's in another unit than I am. He's one person that could usually use some help. He has his family, he's just now getting back in touch with them from a long hiatus. He doesn't really have a strong support system, so actually me and my fiance have been able to take care of him a couple times a month. We're able to put money on his phone and his commissary, but things are getting tough for us to be able to do that. And he's one person that I look out for, so I get to talk to him once in a while. And I've seen a couple of my boys going to court. They're at trial right now. So when I went to trial, I got to ride in a van with them and catch up with my boys. But other than that, no.
So that was Jonathan Manafo.
Yeah, good guy.
J-O-N Manafo. So it's on the list. Okay. Yeah. All right, good. Well, that's good to know too. I mean, because that's part of what, we've got people here and we've got funds that we want to continue to try to help folks with, but it's hard to understand who is probably in the worst situation or needs it the most. So that kind of information is helpful there.
Yeah, I would nominate John for sure. He's a really good guy, a solid American, and his support system is pretty pretty weak. A lot of his family members are kind of on the far left, and he has some estranged family that he's recently got back in touch with and patched things up. So that's a good thing. But he's a very, he's not the kind of guy that would ask or say, hey, I'm in trouble, I need help. He's not that kind of guy, so he'll just grin and bear it. And I noticed that when I was in Northern Neck with him, so I always try to look out for him myself if I can.
Yeah, understood. I tend to gravitate towards those kind of people too, and but they don't ask for it, but they do need it, so that's good. All right, cool. Anything else you'd like to say while we got a little minute left?
Just get on that Epic Times story, guys. It's very imperative that we share this story with as many people as we can to get the word out. So, if you don't want to go to Epic Times and copy the link and search for it on True Social or Twitter at @Osprey_Sensei, we have it posted up. Copy that link and share it with as many people as you can right now.
We'll get it out there. One of the things about Epic Times is they let you share those articles for free, which is cool. So we'll do that. Thank you so much. And Barry, we just want to say,
guys.
Hey, listen, keep the faith, and God's watching out for you, and we'll say a few words for you and your family, and stay strong, my brother.
Absolutely. God bless you all. Thank you for what you're doing and all your support. It really goes noticed.
Barry!
Barry! Barry! Barry! Love you all. God bless the USA.
God bless you. The caller has hung up.
All right, that was the infamous Barry Ramey, who is our regular caller here and always has some great things to say. Epic Times, if you don't have it, get it. Epic Times is probably
front page story in this week's
front page story. I was just reminded. So it's an amazing source of news. All right, we're going to take a moment here and just recoup and see what's next. Thank you for tuning in.
You're a great MC, Tom.
You're a great MC. I couldn't do that kind of thing.
They won't let my son have any vitamin D.
They won't.
And he had a severe deficiency and he keeps asking for it and they won't let him have it.
Well, that's interesting because
He says they give him a multivitamin. That's not enough.
No,
that's because our whole family has thyroid and vitamin D deficiency. We have issues.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Well, they don't get any sunshine here. My goodness.
Well,
of
everybody
course.
here should be getting vitamin D.
Right.
Not just a multivitamin. They should be getting a D also.
Right. Right.
They won't give them to him.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to read this Leadstown Resolve before the light goes away.
Yes.
You have a light ready?
Who did Barry say needed help?
Jonathan Manafo.
Oh.
John Manafo.
Yeah, he's. I don't have my list anymore, but Jonathan Manafo was here for quite a while, actually. Got pretty good light, actually.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so this is the Leadstown Resolves I started to read before when Barry called. So again, February of 1766 in Westmoreland County, the following Virginia citizens, their names are at the end, came together and executed this document. It's called the Association of Westmoreland, also known as Leadstown Resolves or Westmoreland Resolves. The following articles prepared and offered by Richard Henry Lee were passed by the patriots of that day at Leadstown, Virginia, 27th of February, 1766. Here it goes. Roused by danger and alarmed at attempts, foreign and domestic, to reduce the people of this country to a state of abject and detestable slavery by destroying that free and happy condition of government under which they have hitherto lived, we who subscribe this paper have associated and do bind ourselves to each other, to God, and to our country by the firmest ties that religion and virtue can frame, most sacredly and punctually to stand by, and with our lives and fortunes, to support, maintain, and defend each other in the observance and execution of these following articles. First, we declare all due allegiance and obedience to our lawful sovereign, George III, King of Britain, and we determine to the utmost of our power to preserve the laws, the peace, and good order of this colony as far as it is consistent with the preservation of our constitutional rights and liberty. Secondly, as we know it to be the birthright privilege of every British subject, and of the people of Virginia as being such, founded on reason, law, and compact, that he cannot be legally tried but by his peers, that he cannot be taxed but by consent of a parliament, in which he is represented by persons chosen by the people, and who themselves pay a part of the tax they impose on others. If therefore any person or persons shall attempt by any action or proceeding to deprive this colony of these fundamental rights, we will immediately regard him or them as the most dangerous enemy of the community, and we will go to any extremity, not only to prevent the success of such attempts, but to stigmatize and punish the offender. Thirdly, as the Stamp Act does absolutely direct the property of the people to be taken from them without their consent expressed by their representatives, and as in many cases it deprives the British American subject of his right to trial by jury, we do determine at every hazard, and paying no regard to danger or to death, we will exert every faculty to prevent the execution of the said Stamp Act in any instance whatsoever within this colony, and every abandoned wretch who shall be so lost to virtue and public good as wickedly to contribute to the introduction or fixture of the Stamp Act in this colony by using stamped paper or by any other means, we will, with the utmost expedition, convince all such profligates that immediate danger and disgrace shall attend their prostitute purposes. Fourthly, that the last article may most surely and effectually be executed, we engage to each other that whenever it shall be known to any of this association that any person conducting himself as to favor the introduction of the Stamp Act, that immediate notice shall be given to as many of the association as possible, and that every individual so informed shall, with expedition, repair to a place of meeting to be appointed as near the scene of action as may be. Fifthly, each associator shall do his true endeavor to obtain as many signers to this association as he possibly can. Sixthly, if any attempt shall be made on the liberty or property of any associator for any action or thing to be done in consequence of this agreement, we do most solemnly bind ourselves by the sacred engagements above entered into, at the risk of our lives and fortunes, to restore such associate to his liberty and to protect him in the enjoyment of his property. In testimony of good faith with which we resolve to execute this association, we have this 27th day of February 1766 in Virginia put our hands and seals here too. And the first signatory was Richard Henry Lee, and goes on from there. So, pretty interesting historical fact right here in the Northern Neck. So, all right. Going to put this microphone down for a minute, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully we'll get another call. I'd love to hear from Jeffrey Brown, the last J6er who left here. I don't know if there's anyone else who might be calling, but we'll try to figure that out and let you know.
About it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, think about it. It was 10 years before the Declaration, so they were basically saying, look, all right, we'll remain subjects of the crown. But we're also free citizens here, and if you, it basically the concept of taxation without representation and trial by jury, all those things.
We were talking, Darlene and I were talking yesterday, I think it was. I'd been reading that Killings of England book that I was telling you about. He was talking in there one time. He was talking about Washington Rose's brother. His name I can't remember now, but he was living at this plantation of Bushfield, just down the road here from the railroad. And we were thinking what it would take for him to get in a carriage and go up to Leedstown to meet with him. That's a all-day journey right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, back then, I'm sure. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
I can't do it.
Okay. Well, keep in touch, all right? Call me sometime. Let me know how things are going.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be at that meeting?
Tuesday.
Tuesday is our meeting, but
Tuesday's your meeting.
Wednesday is the board meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
Okay.
about.
Yep.
I didn't send any of those complaint forms in because I figured, you know what, they're going to disappear like everything else does. So I'm going to wait till the meeting, and I have used half a ream of paper, copy, for Dana's court case, but also for things against the jail. So I'm going to have all my.
Great. That's impactful. That's going to be great. Good
So
stuff.
30 people or more are going to see me hand that to him,
Uh-huh.
and he can't say he didn't get it because
Right. Absolutely. Nice.
He'll just roll his eyes, you know,
he doesn't care.
wave his hands.
He doesn't care. He's not human. He doesn't care.
No, that's right.
Boys,
Good night.
Good night. Drive carefully.
Good night.
Well, I don't know again how long we're going to stick it out. Ron.
Well, I was thinking about that all day. And I think maybe doing this like we are, and then if we get to an hour and we haven't had any more calls, just
Yeah.
say a prayer and sing.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything we're gaining. It's not anything.
It is. Well, this is on, but that's enough. We can probably hear you a little bit, but you're right. No, that's fine. Yeah, I think so too. And it's what? It's probably 7:45.
It's 7:45.
Yeah. I want to find out maybe, I don't know if Susan had talked with Jeffrey. Maybe that
Oh,
would
yeah.
be an option.
Yeah.
He's calling, everybody else is calling. Nikki said that we could talk, but I don't know. I haven't heard from her.
You said we could talk?
Nikki.
Oh. They're somebody's having a vigil up in Lewisburg too, right?
They do Lewisburg on Saturday night.
Pushed me.
All right, so let's see if we get another call or two here. But in the meantime, I wanted to share a little bit about just some of the charges that these people are facing, and that they're getting extraordinarily long sentences for. As we mentioned last time, Jeffrey Sills got 52 months, and the prosecutor wanted something over 100 months. But thank goodness Jeffrey stood up for himself and seemed to have the ability to convince the judge that he didn't need to spend that amount of time. So hopefully none of these guys spend anywhere near any of that. So this was some charges for Jeffrey Brown, the last individual who was here at the jail. He was arrested in August of 2021. This is from AmericanGulag.org, where I found this information. Another great website for folks, if you want to look it up, is PatriotMailProject.com. It's got great information, current locations. I think it's fairly current information. You can learn a little bit about the individuals. You can see their Give, Send, Go accounts. It's a great resource. So again, AmericanGulag.org and then PatriotMailProject.com. So Jeffrey Brown, his charges were, again, this is the summary of what he supposedly, allegedly had summarized what he had done. But he was seen in surveillance in the tunnel with the crowd. Someone in the crowd handed him pepper spray, and he allegedly directed it at officers. So his charges were inflicting bodily injury on certain officers, obstruction of law enforcement during civil disorder, entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds. That is a very, very common charge for everybody. Entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds. Now, if you've all seen the shaman, I just lost it, Jacob Chansley, who I believe is going to be getting out early. He's out. Okay, he was the individual with the sort of buffalo horns and the headdress, and he was actually escorted around the Capitol, and so how is he entering and remaining in restricted grounds if police officers are actually escorting him around? So anyway, number 4, disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds. Wow. Engaging in physical violence in a restricted building or grounds. So they're really nailing this restricted building or grounds. Now I understand that they had some sort of signage up that's indicated that with bike racks, not fence, not anything substantial, but bike racks and signs and so on, that supposedly said that the areas were off limits, and that those things somehow magically disappeared when the crowd started arriving. So, but they still claim it was restricted grounds. Disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, impeding passage through the Capitol grounds or buildings, and acts of physical violence in the Capitol grounds or buildings. Daryl Neely. He was filming events inside because they were newsworthy. He discussed them on his radio show with the Global Enlightenment Radio Network the next day. The government alleges that Neely took plates from the Capitol building, as well as a Capitol police jacket, a badge, and a baseball cap as a souvenir. His charges: civil disorder, theft of government property, entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds, there we go again, disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building. Like that's never been done before by anyone, right? Yeah, parading. I've only got a couple more here, but the list goes on. Jonathan Manafo, who we just spoke about, Barry mentioned him, so he needs some help here. Now, Jonathan allegedly punched a police officer and took his shield away, and he used a flagpole to break a window. So he's got some serious charges here, unfortunately. They include forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, or interfering with officer of U.S. government, knowingly entering or remaining in a restricted building or grounds without lawful authority, engaging in disorderly conduct on restricted grounds with intent to disrupt official functions engaging in an act of physical violence against persons or property on restricted grounds, and while using a dangerous weapon, violent entry, and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. I need to really look in to see where he's at with his sentencing and so on, and how that's coming with him, because unfortunately those guys that did get involved with physical altercations are really getting the book thrown at them. Tim Meaner, I think is how he pronounces it, Boudhner. He allegedly sprayed OC spray, which is a pepper type spray, bear spray or something, in retaliation at police officers who they were spraying protesters out the Capitol. So he gets charged with civil disorder, disruption of an official proceeding, assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers using a dangerous weapon, entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds using a dangerous weapon, disorderly and disruptive conduct in restricted building or grounds with a dangerous weapon, engaging in physical violence in restricted grounds with a dangerous weapon, an act of physical violence in the Capitol grounds or buildings. So again, a lot of thinking. A lot of these guys, some of them, you know, were in the midst of the fray, and they're going to get the book thrown at them. The ones who were just there parading, as we mentioned, Jacob Chansley, how much time did he spend in there for showing up as a shaman of all things, which is about as most peaceful as icon as you could get. So, all right, well, folks, we're probably going to wrap this up a little early, and give us a minute. We'll say a prayer and maybe the pledge, the anthem, and go home for the night. But thank you so much for everybody that's tuning in.
Rain every it's like
Hard to read paper.
Yeah, go home and dry everything out for a day. The flags, the banner, all of it. The cameras, the big speaker.
You heard that tomorrow they expect just 55 knots.
I heard that. Very windy tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, I've been meaning to ask you something. Your new location is down in Drum Cove, right? And I think that's the same cove that a friend of mine, David Button, lives on. Do you know him by chance? He's may not be this close, but it's right in that area. He's a very, very good diesel mechanic. I mean, he's really smart. He's a black guy, and I can't remember how I got in touch with him, but he came and worked on my engine. And, he really knew what he was doing. But he's a really good guy. I thought I'd been to his house from the water, and I thought from looking at the chart that was near where his house was. But I may be wrong.
out and visit sometime. All right.
Okay, we're gonna pray. You need help. You need help.
Oh, I see.
You want to sing with us?
Well, we're going to make another call here real quick. So,
Here we go.
it's Mickey Whithoff, Ashley Beck's mama.
Hello.
Hey, Mickey, is the rain keeping the counter protesters away?
No, it's not raining here, thank God, because our tents went to Lewisburg with Tammy. They're in the back of her truck. She does hold the vigil out there, and they went with her. So we don't know what we're going to do tomorrow, but I think we're going to hold out tonight. So
Yeah.
thank y'all for being out there in the rain. Are you by yourself?
No, we got a decent crowd here. We have about half a dozen folks, and talked to Barry maybe recently. Barry's spoken recently, but he's really pushing the Epic Times article that's on the front page there, and sharing that with the embedded police officers that were basically following your daughter up the steps.
Yeah, I just shared that article out. I haven't had a chance to read it yet because we're out here in the wind and people screaming at us. So when I get home, I'm going to look at that. And, you know, he called in and we've already started, our live streamers have already started sharing that. So
Good.
hopefully, yeah.
Great. So we've been continuing here to work with board members and having some meetings, which has been progress, good progress, I think. I think we're getting some people on our side that definitely want to continue looking into what's going on here. They thanked us. This was just a meeting, actually, that one of our members set up with two of the board members of the jail, and they both thanked us for continuing to stay here and look into this situation even after the day sixes are gone. So I thought that was really, really positive.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you guys are doing that. So it's very encouraging and very admirable. And, you know, am I talking to just you or to everybody?
Well, you're on the live stream, so yeah. I've got.
So hey, everybody. Hey, I just say, you know, I had a chance to speak with John Haynes, and I had a really sweet conversation with him. And I don't know if he's there or not, but you know, he's an inspiration, and I'm happy and proud to know him. So. You as well. I think, you know, Northern Neck Patriots, all you guys, you know, we showed up to an activated group of people. So, you know, we appreciate you guys.
Well, thanks so much. And I know John's busy. He's got a deadline for the paper coming up, so he's cramming every possible minute into that. So he's not out here tonight. But, you know, one of the things we talked about that we want to do, I've gone back and tried to really create a comprehensive list of all the J6ers that have been through the jail here.
Right.
I'm up to around 42. I might have missed a couple because there was a period of time when they were moving in and out pretty fast.
Yeah.
What we'd like to do is to try to get sponsors for each individual. I think we can manage it with our group because we've got, on paper, 150 individuals in our membership, but all we need is 42 individuals. Each one take a name and follow it. Susan can have Jeffrey, you can be his sponsor. How's that sound?
Susan, I think Jeffrey's moving out of D.C. Am I correct?
He eventually will be,
She
but
says-
we're not sure when or where.
She says not sure when or where, but eventually, yeah.
Yeah. That's usually what happens when they're sentenced. But I thought I heard some shaking. You know, they had visitation today, so I believe he had visitation with and that man out of Colorado that's been really supportive of us.
Good. Yeah. That's confirmed. All right. Well, good. Well, what's going on? What are you doing these days? I've seen your face on the news. Obviously, you're busy on Capitol Hill? Any news?
Oh, we've been actually very busy in these committee hearings, and the one we sat in on yesterday, the weaponization of government against the American people. And we were the whole front row, and we had our Ashley shirts on and Roseanne shirts on, and we triggered Miss Plaskett. She was throwing paperwork, and so yeah, just our presence there got them a little bit shaken up. So yeah, we were all in the front row. It was Tommy and David from Freedom Express, and me and Nicole and Ivan Rakelin and Ohio Navy Mom, Ohio Navy Dad, and Tammy. So yeah, we were getting the whole front row yesterday. So,
Awesome.
yeah, and we did manage to speak with some people. I spoke with Cornell a couple days ago. Just, trying to be present in the moment and get our faces up there and talk to as many people as possible. So that's what we've been up to.
It's having a cumulative impact, I'm sure, right? It's probably tiresome at some days, but I know you've got the strength and the power that are driving you forward. But every time you do it, it's making a difference, I'm sure.
Well, I hope so. I hope so, because at least it lets them know that we're here and we care. And the vigil used to be like where we'd come to get our peace and stuff, but we actually have quite a few counter protesters out here, and sometimes they're quite demonic. But we're hoping it settles down soon.
Yeah. I wonder where if they're just looking for personal glory, or if there's somebody that's putting them up to it. But either way, it's distracting. I'm sorry you guys are having to deal with that.
Well, you know what? That's okay, because it is, what it is. I guess if you have people out here yelling about what you're doing, activating the right people. So we'll hold on to that as a win, too. And, also one person's First Amendment rights are another person's First Amendment rights. So
you nailed it. That's exactly right. And it's important to remember that. So
yeah, but they're loud and they're foul and they're vulgar. So sometimes just, but I do remind myself, I do.
Ask them to be nice, all right?
I will tell him. Tom says, y'all be nice. Maybe that'll work. That'll work. All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you so much for being out there. We love all you guys.
Hey, thanks for talking with us. I think we're going to close things up. The banners are blowing down, and it's getting windy. So
I know, crazy windy. Yeah. Crazy windy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, God bless you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Tom.
All right. What do y'all want to do? Want to do a prayer and you want to sing the anthem, or you want to skip that?
I give you about here.
Who would like to say the prayer? Well, I said the opening. So.
Lord God, we thank you for your promise to be with us whenever we come together to pray. We ask your blessing, Lord Jesus, on all of the prisoners in this jail, and we ask your blessing, Lord, on all the staff, Lord, the officers in the jail, the administrative officers, the COs, Lord. We just ask your blessings on all of them. Guide them, Lord, and direct them in their duties, Lord, and in their decisions. And we ask you, Lord, to provide for all of the families, Lord, of the prisoners that are represented here. Protect them and guard them and provide their needs, Lord. We just ask your blessings in Christ Jesus' name.
Amen. All right.
Violet arms were light, was so proudly laid at the twilight's last gleaming, through crossroads and bright stars, through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread there, the bombs bursting in air. It proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
the home of the brave. USA! 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 USA!
We got it. We got it.
All right, everybody, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next Friday, maybe. We need an MC for next Friday. I'll be out of town, but hopefully we'll be here anyway, carrying on the message. So take care. God bless. God bless America.
Amen.
And I'll be in D.C. because I'm probably going to go visit Jeffrey, and then I'm going to probably go to the D.C. group.
Oh, wonderful. So maybe that's where maybe we'll do it then.
If anybody wants to go with me, Terry wants to go. All these different addresses and things. They're different up there to go visit. You don't have to read all this paperwork. So, I guess we'll take a flight.
Next Friday, you think?
Friday, Good Friday, and he has to put in notice who's coming. I don't know how.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about going to see the address, that's the phone number.
Okay.
And you can put the paperwork in. So I think we're going to do a 3 o'clock visitation, eat dinner, and then go to the vigil, and then come back.